Good morning, this is Raj from MR Sports Cars. In this episode of Diary of a Porsche Specialist, I'm going to talk about how you get your post-2009 Porsche 911 Cayman Boxster keys replaced if you've got one that's broken, or if you bought a car that only had one key. It's always worth having a second key. Now, there's different ways of doing it, and there's also different procedures for different ages. So this car is a 981 Boxster S. So this is a 2014. These cars came out from 2012. 2012 onwards, basically, they have a key that's the shape of a car, and I'll show you a bit later the different shapes of the two different key types for those three different models. From 2009 to 2012, they have one specific key shape, and then 2012 onwards, 911s, Boxsters, Caymans have a different key shape. The 2012 onwards is more troublesome to get a key. A replacement key. Now, this car came with two keys, but one was damaged, so I ordered a new key from Porsche Reading. Unfortunately, they don't come programmed, so even if you have to, with each of these cars, to get a new key from Porsche, you have to provide a copy of the V5C. So there, I've got it there. If you're a trader like me, you also, because the V5 isn't in my name, I need to also show an invoice showing that I purchased the car off the owner who is on the V5. I also need a driver's license for identity, and also if I get a Porsche mechanics workshop to order the key for me, I need to produce a letter of authority giving them permission to get the key on my behalf from Porsche. So you can already tell that there's quite a few hoops to jump through just to order a key, and the keys aren't cheap either. So the key for this car, with the blade cut as well, so Porsche now cut the blade that sits in the key. It's not visible on these cars. It's actually hidden in the back of the key, because the key is like a car shape, which I'll show you later. And what you do to get that key is provide all that documentation. They send it to you, but then essentially the blade works, so you can manually open the doors, but you can't start the car. You can't use the buttons to unlock the car, because essentially it needs to be electronically coded to the car. So what then the next stage is you have to book it in with a Porsche OPC dealer. So in my case, I was looking at Porsche Cambridge, Porsche Hatfield, Porsche Silverstone, even Porsche Reading. Unfortunately, at the moment, I mean, it's mid-April 2021, the lead times for getting even a half-hour slot to do that coding is around 6 weeks, which is insane. I mean, I think Porsche Hatfield were able to fit me in 4 weeks for that half hour. Porsche Reading, as an emergency, could do it next week. But unfortunately, I'm delivering this car in 2 days' time, and I need those two keys working. So the new owner has two functioning keys, and he's happy with the car. So I did some digging, and the reason why Porsche main dealers are listed really as the only people that can code these newer 2012 onwards keys is because essentially you need to program these cars, you need to actually have access to, I think it's the Porsche database in Germany, at least, well, it's at least centrally in the UK, but I've been told it's actually, you need to have a live link with your PWIS system, with an active subscription to, it's called PPN, Porsche something network. That needs to be live linked into Porsche Germany's database to get the permission and authority through another system to code the key to the car. So it's a very locked down and secure system, which I suppose is a good thing, that not everyone, you can't just clone a key on these cars, as far as I know. You can't clone one and essentially, say you take it to a mechanics with the key, you can let them do some work, and then 2 weeks later your car disappears because essentially they've gone away, they cloned your key while it was with them, and then they have their own key for your car. That can't happen with these newer cars. As far as I'm aware, it needs to be authorised and logged with Porsche centrally that a new key was copied for, was granted permission for the car in question. Now, I did some digging around and I found that there is a Porsche specialist in North London. They have the access to the Porsche central network and are able to also get these keys cut. You have to order the key from them, so you basically give them your proof of ID, the proof of ownership of the car. They will then order the key directly from Porsche Reading trade desk. It'll be delivered to them, and then you take the car down to them and they'll be able to basically add that key to work with your car. So they're doing that for me this morning. That key, I purchased one quite recently. It was £256 plus VAT for the key, and then it's going to be around another £150 to get it programmed. So all in, it's going to be around £500 for a new key for a 2012 onwards 911 Boxster or Cayman. So just bear that in mind if you've only got one key, to price that in if you're going to buy the car, because it is a big cost. And I would say with these cars you do really need a second key as a spare, because it's not good that you've got such an expensive luxury car, sports car, and if you lose that key you're absolutely stranded, and it could need a recovery to a Porsche main dealer to basically get new locks put in and also reattach new electronic keys to the ECU of this car. So well worth bearing in mind. So I'll see you a bit later to show you the key. Okay, so I've had the key programmed, brand new key, so there it is. So these are the keys that you would find on 2012 onwards Porsche 911s, Caymans, Boxsters, possibly the SUVs, but I don't deal in those, so that's not my expertise. This was one of the original keys, so it had the red case. I've got a red case to put on this one, should I wish to fit it. Now the 2009 onwards Caymans and Boxers and 911s up to 2012, so the 997 Gen 2s and the 987 Gen 2 cars had this kind of key. That's my label just to tell me what registration's on there. It's not holding it together. That's the type of key it comes with. They both come with a blade. Obviously you start the car on the pre-2012 cars with the blade, but these you literally just slot the key into the slot and you don't use the blade. The blade is just an emergency access to get into the car should you need to. So there's the blade, and it's the same sort of, it's slightly shorter, but it's got a similar kind of drilled pattern. So this came pre-cut from Porsche, but the actual key itself wasn't coded to the car, so it wouldn't unlock it or lock it. It wouldn't operate the hood if you wanted it to, or start the car. I mean, if I hold down the lock button, it should do it does the hood just on the key, which is as it should do. So it's all been programmed up by a Porsche specialist in London. So there you have it, that's all the way up. So now this car's got a full set of working keys. As I said, I think it was £256 plus VAT for the key, and then I've just spent another £145 plus VAT to get it programmed. The Porsche system, that whether it's OPC or whether it's a specialist like the one I used, the subscription service that they have to pay for to do that is very expensive. It's thousands and thousands of pounds a year, so they have to justify not only their labour time but also a proportion of their subscription goes into paying for access. So that's all done. The 997 Gen 2 keys and earlier are actually easier to do because you can do them offline. So you don't need someone with access to the network in Porsche Germany to do a live sort of request to get this key coded. It can be done with an offline, as it were, PWIS 2 and PWIS 3 as well. So most specialists should be able to do these pre-2012 keys if they've got a Porsche PWIS system of some kind. However, they probably won't be able to do this unless they've got a live subscription to a specific service, the PPN network, I believe it's called. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my understanding of the situation with keys. So essentially, you can order any of these keys from Porsche as long as you can prove you own the car, provide details of the car, provide proof of who you are. These earlier ones you can get coded. I think some people even offer a service where you send them away and they come back coded, but you can do, it's easier to do with the car, I believe. These ones, however, even though you can buy them, you can't get them coded unless you go to a Porsche OPC or a specialist who has specifically paid to get access to the Porsche system to do that. So that's everything. Oh, there was one other thing, which is these blades. You can actually get them for around £15 to £20 cut to your car in the post. So there's a website called Keys in the Post, and literally if you have one key that works, you can take a picture of the pattern with your mobile phone, send them the picture with an order on their website for a new key or 2 keys or whatever you want, and within under a week you'll be sent a new key. Obviously try that it works, and if it doesn't, then get back to them. But from my experience, they always work, and then you've got a spare blade. So if you have one of these but you don't have a whole second key, that's a cheaper option. Is in an absolute emergency, you can have a second blade cut so that you can at least get into the car without worrying that you can't even access it because you haven't got an electronic fob anymore. So that's another tip for Porsche keys. I'm talking specifically about 2009 to 2015. Outside of that range, I'm not too familiar with. I mean, the older stuff is easier. It's more like this one. So you would be able to get the blade cut, and you could get a specialist to program up a fob for you. Anything newer is basically this style, having to order the key through OPC and getting them to code it, or order it through a specialist that has access and getting them to code it with you with the car. So let me just open the roof. So I'm just opening the roof now with the key. I could use the controls here, but I'm just demonstrating that new key works fully as it should. So that's everything I have to say about Porsche keys from 2009 to 2015. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to put something in the comments below or get in touch through my website, mlsportsource.com. And please like and subscribe to my channel and this video. Thanks for watching.